Good morning, everybody. My name is Tamara Osborne, and I am going to be your trainer for today. So, as you can read on the slide right now, our training is funded by the California Department of Social Services, and all the materials are developed in part or wholly by California Department of Ed and produced by CDSS. I like to think about morning meetings and how they can encompass all of the different pieces of the desired results system. So today, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the entire desired results system, which includes four very important parts. So morning meeting can include families. It can include a very developmentally appropriate environment. It can include how are we supporting children's learning and development. And then, of course, that all ties into our continuous improvement for our program. Okay, so today participants are going to learn about why the desired result system was developed and how it can be used to improve quality services to children and families. Participants will receive some training materials that they will be able to print and use with your staff from today's training. You were emailed a Google Doc that I've also placed inside of the chat box. The Google Doc is where you will get those training materials for your staff. So this is the Google Doc we'll be using for today. Day one for DRDP for administrators. So you'll have different PowerPoints today. I do want to preface by saying the PowerPoint I am sharing with you is slightly different than what I have given you on the Google Doc. And that's because I will be doing some very specific virtual activities with you. And the PowerPoints you have with your staff are for in-person trainings. So many of the slides I have, you will find between the DRDP overview PowerPoint and the DRDP PowerPoint. So the slides are combined from those two pieces, and you do have access to slides. So for today's training, you will need that Google Doc. I'm also going to take some time right now to make sure everyone is signed up to the CDSS listserv. Every time there is any type of change happening across the system or any new requirements you need to know, being a CDSS contractor, it will be most helpful for you to be signed up for the listserv. I just placed that link inside the chat box, and you can also just scan this QR code with your phone. So I'm going to pause here for the next 3 minutes just to make sure everyone is signed up. Before we move away from here, there's one more listserv I'm going to need everyone to sign up for unless you've done it already. So there is a listserv on the Desired Results website. And anytime something new with the DRDP or the desired results system happens, we send that out through our listserv. That includes DRDP Online, that includes free trainings, that includes everything with DRDP as an assessment. So right now I am placing this link into the chat. And if everyone could please sign up for the listserv for the desired results. These are going to be two very important resources for you as administrators of early childhood programs. And I would encourage you, if you have lead teachers in your agency, in your program, teachers who help you out with the administrative work, that you also encourage them to sign up for these listservs. So program directors, site supervisors, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, I think you are responsible for the desired result system. So we see you as the administrator of that program who helps to train your staff. Looks like we're all in the right place, just about. Bethany, who is a special education director. Bethany, today's desired results training is specific to CDSS funded programs and the requirements for them. You are more than welcome to join. I just want to make very clear that we will not be sharing special education requirements, but there will be tons of resources around the desired results system. All right. We also recommend that if you do have an additional device that you pull that up or use that in order to take a look at the presentation as we go through today, and then use another device to pull up handouts because we'll be going through handouts throughout the morning. Our agenda is that we're going to go through the overview of the desired results system. I'm going to talk about program guidelines and what training materials are available to you to support your staff with that. We'll talk about the DRDP and the different parts of the desired results system, such as the parent survey, environment rating scales, and the overall program self-evaluation. The word of the day is continuous improvement, or I should say words. The words of the day are continuous improvement. So our focus today is to make sure, or we're going to focus on methods within the desired results system that's going to improve services to children, resulting in overall program improvement. The secondary focus is going to be to provide training for using the tools that's going to support that. So here goes some training on my environment rating scales about the parent survey. And also, we're going to show you how to use the desired result tools to demonstrate program accountability. Our objectives are that as administrators, you're going to gain a comprehensive understanding of the desired result system, that you're going to be able to leave with some best practices on implementing this throughout your entire agency, and that you'll get some skills to do some self-evaluation about what it is you are already really good at as a program, and what are some places that we need to improve. Continuous improvement. So the first thing we're going to start with is our desired results overview training. So I started by showing you all the Google Doc. You will have access to slides specifically about an overview of the desired result system. They're on the Google Doc. So some of these slides you'll have, some of them you won't, because remember, I'm making this very virtual for all of you now. So what I'm going to ask us all to do is we're going to go into a breakout room where you can talk to each other. You're going to introduce yourselves to each other, your program, which age levels you support, discuss what your goals are from this training. You can also, so you also will have a Google set of slides. Let's open those up for you, where you're going to take notes. So once you're in your breakout rooms, I'm going to need you to decide who's going to be your note taker. Anyone with the link can edit. So there are 14 rooms. In those once you're inside your room, you'll see a number. You'll be room 1, room 2, room 3. Whichever room number you are, that's the slide I need you to open. So room 1, you use slide 1. Room 2, you use number 2. So far, so good. So I'm going to open breakout rooms. You will be in a breakout room. Pay attention to the number of your breakout room. That's the slide you and your group are to write on. So if I'm in room 2, I need to write on room 2. No one's in the rooms yet, so no one should be writing on the slides yet. Once you're inside of your breakout room, you are answering 2 questions. What do you already know about the desired results system? The word system is very important. What do you know about the desired results system? And you're going to type that here in the yellow box. In the chat, what box are you typing into? The yellow box, talk about what you already know about the desired results system. The second question you're going to answer inside your chat, inside of your breakout room is, what is it you want to know? What are your goals from today's training? What do you want to know by the time we are done in 3 hours? That is what you're going to write in the green box. What other box are you typing into? Please tell me in the chat. Thank you. Yellow and green, yellow and green. Those are the only 2 boxes you should be typing in, yellow and green. What do you already know? What do you want to know? And here we go. There we go. Welcome back, everybody. On the screen, you should be able to see the Google Slides that everyone was just writing on. I like to use this as a collaborative activity because 1, I can see if anyone needs my help and I need to jump in there. And 2, it's a great way for everyone to see what everyone else is doing. So as I went through looking through all of the slides, I could see underneath the no column where there's a lot of information about the DRDP itself. So maybe we're talking about DRDP and DRDP Online. Maybe we're talking about DRDP 2025 and DRDP 2015. Maybe we're talking about parent conferences. Is there anyone who'd like to share what they discussed?
We can.
Yes.
For Okay, so for us, what we said is what we know is that the DRDP system is using observations, assessment, staff surveys, portfolios, summary of findings, parent surveys, demographics. I'm out of breath. Other reports all involved, but using them to create individualized classroom and center-wide plans to continuously improve our programs. Um, but what we'd like to know is tips and tricks to simplify it and make those actionable steps for moving forward.
Beautiful. Thank you. So table or team 4, it looks like you brought in all the aspects of the desired results system, not just the DRDP. In the chat, if I could get everyone to write those 3 words, desired results system. The system has 4 big parts. I know that everyone zeroes in on the DRDP itself because it's big, it's huge, it takes up a lot of space within your program. It has to do with child development. However, there are 3 other very important parts to this system that have to work together. There is your parent survey. That is a part of the system. There is your environment rating scales for CDSS funded programs. That is a part of the system. There is also your program self-evaluation, and that is a part of the system of getting continuous improvement as an agency. So what I want everyone to leave here knowing is as an administrator, you need to figure out how all of those pieces work together for you and program accountability. I see underneath what it is we want to know around tips and tricks on reporting, around better ways to teach new staff, around how to use DRDP, around how to use all of the tools. I think all of those things are going to get answered today. And if they don't, please type your questions in the chat. Is there anyone else who'd like to share what you discussed in your breakout rooms?
So we're just discussing the different domains and measures and how it's connected to the state compliance. And it's just a developmental continuum of the different ages. And then one to know is how to train staff on the assessment and use results to guide instruction. And then about the new changes that were made to this one.
Absolutely. So that's all very DRDP specific, and we will be able to answer those questions. I really want everyone to know that today is about the entire system and how that supports your whole program, right? So DRDP is just one small part of this entire system. So we did not, and thank you for sharing. We did not write in the pink box on purpose. That's what we're going to write in at the end of the day. So all of these things you want to know and all of the information I'm going to share with you, take notes on it so that at the end of today, you'll be able to type in what it is you learned and how you're going to use that going forward. So the first thing I'm going to ask everyone to do is open up that Google Doc that I placed inside the chat box, probably feels like eons ago. And once you open up that Google Doc, there we go. You are looking at this page here that says Overview Binder. So here, the Overview Binder is a list of activities and handouts that you as the administrator can make copies of in order to train your staff. So we've prepared the training for you. You have slides, you have handouts, whatever you need to help train your staff. I just placed it in there again. Let's try that one more time. Once you open that up, you're able to see, I'm going to scroll down here where it says presenter notes. So you'll have a slide and you'll have the notes at the bottom. These are for you. These are for you to write on what notes you want to take as you present. So those are the first few slides for you, the administrator, training your staff. I'm going to scroll past those really quick because at the end, you will find PowerPoint note handouts that look like this. Again, for you to copy and print and share with your staff as you do the training. I'm going to pass by those. And right after the PowerPoint notes, you will get handouts. I'm asking everyone to bring up this handout. It's California's Early Learning and Development System. I'll give you about 10 seconds. This is a handout you can and should make copies of and share with all of your staff. California has worked really hard to build a cohesive system, and this explains the system. It's a 2-page document, and on the second page, you're able to get more information about each of the elements we're about to discuss. There's even something called an activity sheet after each of the activities for you as an administrator, so that you can read through what's this activity, what am I supposed to be doing, what's the goal of it. The second handout that we're also going to be discussing in the next 10 to 15 minutes will be the desired results model. So everything is in these overview binder pages for you. We'll also be discussing this document that talks about all of the system. And that's the end of the overview binder pages. I'm going to go back to the Google Doc. There is a PowerPoint for you called DRDP Overview PowerPoint. So you have handouts and you have a PowerPoint. So session one, what we're now, I'm just gonna set this reminder one more time. Some of my slides look a little bit different. Yours are more direct. Mine have a couple of additional activities because I am doing this virtually with all of you. So session one, the overview slide is going to, or the overview section is going to just give this preliminary information about the system, things that your teacher should know. Why are we doing this? What is available to help and support me through this? That first document we talked about is your early learning and development system. I'm going to ask everyone to annotate on my slide. And if you don't know how to annotate, what you need to do is look for the little green pencil in the corner. Green pencil in the corner. In that green pencil, you will, once you select it, you'll get this little pop-up sidebar. And if you select the check mark, it will say stamp. I'm going to ask everyone to stamp, star, put a heart, whichever one you like, over the elements on this screen that you are already familiar with. We are at 8:54. In the next 6 minutes at 9 o'clock, we are going to go over these different elements. But I need everyone to stand up and take your document with you, right? You can read it on your phone, you can read it on your computer. For the next 6 minutes, read the back of this document. And when you come back, I'm going to ask you about the elements on the back. You have 6 minutes, walk and read, 6 minutes, 9 o'clock, be here. Go.
Excuse me, we're reading the PowerPoint or we're reading the early learning?
You're reading the back of the handout. I pulled it up on your Google Doc and I showed you how to find it. I can show you again.
Please.
So here on your Google Doc, you're looking for overview binder. And you're reading this page here.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So remember, this handout is located in those binder pages on your Google Doc. The information of each of the elements is on the back side. This is a great place to start with your staff. Excellent starting point so that you can engage your staff with knowing that there is a huge system built around DRDP, that it's not just doing the assessment, but it also includes different resources that support them as an educator that are either electronic or online. Also things that support their knowledge of child development, like our foundations, There are other resources around just quality programs. What does a quality program look like? Great. So at the center of this system, many of you already said that you are aware, are our learning foundations. In the chat, please type foundations equal age. In the chat, please type foundations equal age. Our learning foundations, infant toddler learning and development foundations, which just came out about a month ago, and they're on the CDSS website, and there's a direct link on the Desired Results website. Those are going to show development or how development unfolds across infancy to 36 months. There are 4 different age spans represented. The first 4 months of development, 4 through 11 months of development, 11 through 23 months of development, and then 23 to 36. For each of those foundation age periods, there's going to be indicators that are going to describe knowledge of children. There we go. Thank you. There will be info that describe the knowledge, skills, and behaviors that children show across this developmental progression. There will be more resources to come, such as videos and SECO modules. They'll be released soon, so keep an eye out on that DRDP listserv or that CDSS listserv. There's also the preschool TK or preschool transitional kindergarten, preschool transitional kindergarten learning foundations, which were released last July. These are going to also describe learning and development for most children through 3 to 5.5. These are giving educators, family child care providers, child development knowledge of what's typical for children. That's the purpose of your foundations. I had you type foundations equal age because if you want to know, if you want your teachers to know, you want your staff to know what's age appropriate, go to the foundations. The foundations say at or around 24 months, this is what that skill looks like. At or around 4 years of age, this is what that skill looks like. So the foundations are the important child development all of our teachers need to know walking into the classroom. The next element that's on there is our frameworks. Frameworks are a strategy or a list of strategies that support ongoing learning and development. Inside the chat, please type frameworks equals strategies. I know we put foundations and framework often together in the sentence, but they do 2 different things. Foundations tell me what's age appropriate. The framework gives me strategies to support development. The frameworks are going to be updated. They are undergoing revisions, and a second edition will be releasing in the field pretty soon, especially for the infant toddlers. Preschool frameworks are coming in the future. These publications, however, have a wealth of strategies and ideas that support families or that include engaging families and how do I support this particular part of development. We say it's not a book that you want your staff to sit and read cover to cover. Instead, based on their data, if their data says they are supporting social emotional development because of the numbers that they got, then turn to that domain, pull out some strategies. Now, both of these, your foundations and your framework, have free. In the chat, type the word free, free training modules on your SECO, California Early Childhood Online. Also, there are free to low-cost trainings for your foundations, your PTKLF, through CPEN, California Preschool Instructional Network. I'll talk more about both of those in just a moment. And training on the Infant Toddler Learning and Development Foundations through Program for Infant Toddler Caregiving, or PITC. So there's a third box in the bottom left-hand corner that we all read about that talks about professional development supports and different competencies. On this slide, I am sharing several different resources that help prepare California's workforce to be professional and aware of early childhood trends. If there are any of these that you are already familiar with, please go ahead and use your annotate to stamp them on the screen. The ITC, I'm so glad people are circling the Infant and Early Childhood Mental Health Consultation Network. All About Young Children is one of my favorite resources ever. I don't see anybody marking poll strategies. Poll strategies are extremely helpful for multilingual learners in our early childhood programs. I'll give you some resource or a link about that as well. CPEN has got circles and highlights. So family childcare at its best provides training in multiple language for family childcare providers. PITC has a very clear, I want to say, goal around supporting infants and toddlers, the importance of continuous improvement, of continuity of care. All About Young Children provides information in eight, I said that 3 times on purpose, 8 different languages, right, that support or that in 8 different languages that share child development information in family-friendly language. So it stays away from all of our ABC soup or acronyms that we use in early childhood. CompSat or our strategies for educators. And then the poll strategies are around language learning project for supporting multilingual learners. Child development training and consortia really has to do with teachers and their own professional development. The Infant and Early Childhood Mental Health Consultation Network provides free consultants that come out to your program to support anything that is happening around either child behavior or your staff needing more training around child behavior. It is a free program through CDSS. If you're not taking advantage of it, I suggest you start doing that right away. And if I have any administrator on this call who is already using it, please share how it's working for your program.
I just confused myself. I'm sorry. We use the ComSat for our evaluation creation. So the levels in the ComSat of what an early childhood educator should look like.
Oh,
We refer to that for our evaluation system. So that was very clear where folks could go, and then it also inspires folks to get more. So.
Great, thank you. Is anyone using the Infant and Early Childhood Mental Health Consultation Network?
Tamara, we have early childhood mental health consultants that come in once a week and watch the classrooms and then meet with each team once a week, but I don't know that they're a part of that network.
Oh.
Would you know if UCSF infant parent program is part of that network?
One more time, if the
UCSF infant parent program? Because they're on site once a week and then they meet in Zooms with each team each week. But I don't know if they're a part of that network.
I see. So this one is West Ed. And can you see my screen? They call in these infant early childhood mental health consultants. They observe the classroom and they provide consultation to the staff, not so much about the behavior, but how do we support this behavior and turn it around to what we want it to be? And what is it that my staff need so that when this behavior shows up again 2 years from now, next year, they already have things in place that support children being successful. Some of the other professional supports and competencies include CECO, California Early Childhood Online, because I think after today you will. CECO provides those free trainings. There's the program for English learner training. There's also the poll strategies, family childcare at its best, which we already talked about. All of those links are on the slides you're going to have inside of your logistics document. We're moving to the next element, program guidelines and resources. There are several different program guidelines and resources available to you. They are all free to download from the CDSS website. And there are free training modules available on SECO. So modules around inclusion work, some very specific strategies to support children who may have differing or special needs in your classroom. The Preschool English Learner Guide, some very specific strategies on supporting multilingual learners so that when children get to that silent phase, your teachers don't get all nervous and scared and think that they have either gone are either mute or are not speaking. And then, of course, guidelines just about age-appropriate programs. So infant, toddler, preschool, and your family home programs. Inside of those program guidelines, I'm going to pause here and let you read what's on the screen. You will get recommendations on day-to-day practices that are going to do nothing more than improve your practice. You have a set of slides on that logistics document for program guidelines, and one of the activities in there that you can do with with your teacher leaders has to do with looking at those guidelines and, of course, being strength-based. Start looking at what is it that we are already doing inside of these guidelines, how can we make it better, and what is something that we want to change. Now I'm going to go to the bottom box that talks about the desired results system. After our activity this morning, I think we all understand that this system has 4 different very important parts. Part of that system has to do with the DRDP itself. The next slide is explaining the difference between foundations and the assessment. My foundations are what my teachers need to know walking into the classroom. My DRDP is a developmental strength-based assessment that tells me about individual children. One is telling me child development and what is typical. The other one is the assessment. Where is this particular child? How do I help them? Now, in those documents for the overview section, remember I showed you this handout. I'm going to ask you to pull this handout out now. I'll even show you how to do that. So here's your Google Doc. We are on our binder pages, and we are on the next handout that looks like this. So this is a visual graphic to show your staff how all 4 pieces of the desired result system fit together. There in the center, we have that we are looking at individual child progress. Around that, like what supports individual child progress, has to do with family goals. Well, how do we assess family goals? We use our parent survey. What else surrounds individual child progress? Our classrooms and our environments. What are we using in our CDSS funded programs to assess environments? Our environment rating scales. And then finally, we have this blue circle that surrounds individual child progress, and that is our program, and that's our program self-evaluation. On the back side, it gives information about how all of those work together. I think often teachers don't understand the why behind the DRDP, and this is one way to share with them why we complete it and how it's connected to so many other pieces. I also want to add, we'll talk about this in a moment, but I just want to add now that the parent survey has been updated and it is available on the Desired Results website and on the CDSS website. It's available now in English, Spanish, Chinese, Arabic, Russian, and Vietnamese, and I'll show you how to find those in just a moment. While we're still here inside of our Google Doc, I'm going to also point out the visual of the system or our desired result system process for continuous improvement. I like this because it shows how all of those different assessments is, or how all of these assessments are a part of this continuous improvement. Here it says collect desired results data. Desired results data is your parent survey. Desired results data is your environment rating scale. Desired results data is your DRDP. You need data from all of those. You need to summarize all of that data, continue implementation of a plan with action steps, collect that data probably again, especially for the DRDP. Collecting it twice for your parent survey is optional. And then you're going to monitor progress. I got my data. What if we put in these steps and changes? How is that going? We're going to complete your annual report or your program self-evaluation, and then complete those action steps and your summary of findings. And then it starts all over again. The desired result system keeps going. It's an iterative process. So as soon as your teacher says, I'm done, you say, wait a minute, maybe not. Let's talk about what the next steps are. Because the process just keeps going. Continuous improvement. So our desired results for children are usually fit into one of these 4 buckets. We're looking for children or supporting children in becoming personally and socially competent, that they are effective learners, that they show physical and motor competence, and that they are safe and healthy. Those are the 4 desired results that are at the top of every parent conference form, also woven into your DRDP introductions. The other desired results we have to do with families. We want to make sure that families are also receiving or able to achieve their goals for their children and support their child's learning and development through education from all of us in our programs. The purpose of your DRDP is really to help us determine how children are benefiting from our programs. These are slides that you have access to so that you can explain the why to your staff. The other part about DRDP is that it assists providers, it assists teachers in making sure that we have environments that are meeting developmental needs of kids.
So you said that if it's a school age program, meaning that if we have kinders that are doing before and after school, then it would be under the school age program. If we have kinders that we have like a classroom that's strictly just for kinders, then we would do the PTK. Yes?
That is correct.
Okay, cool. That's what I understood. Thank you.
You're welcome. So DRDP 2025 infant toddler is for children infancy to 36 months. DRDP PTK, that is preschool, transitional kindergarten, that is used for children 36 months to kindergarten entry. And then we have our school age for CDSS programs that is used for before and after school programs. The P3 assessment is currently in field study for first, second, and third grade teachers to use in their classroom. So right now you should be able to see that Google Doc again. If that's right, if a quick thumbs up or a yes. Yes, perfect, thank you. So I'm gonna scroll down to where we are now. We are here at DRDP binder pages, C25 binder pages. So I'm gonna ask you to open up those binder pages. When you open them up, they'll look very similar or familiar because they look just like the overview. We try to make it as simple as possible. So you'll notice that there are those same presenter notes we talked about earlier, PowerPoint handouts for you to print and give to your staff, activities and handouts for you to use with your staff. This is a lot thicker than the overview. This has multiple activities around observation, your summary of findings, the examples inside the assessment, also explains the management bulletins that come out that explain what your requirements are. Right now, I'm going to ask you to go into your breakout room. You'll be in there for about 8 minutes, and I'm going to ask you to take a look at the different activities there are. Which ones do you need to do with your staff? You know your staff better than anyone. Where are they struggling? Where do they need some support? Is it around observation? Is it around a deeper look at the descriptors inside the DRDP? Is it around a summary of findings? So you're going to be in your breakout rooms. Take a look at that table of contents. Feel free to go through the document to look at the activities and see which activity you need to do with your staff. All right, welcome back, everybody. All right, it looks like there's a lot of conversations going on in there. You can either, I'm going to try and make this enough so that you can see most of the activities here. You can either stamp the activities that you want or will be doing with your staff, or you can type them into the chat. While that's happening, if I can get at least 2 people to unmute and share what you discussed in your breakout room.
Like for us, it actually like went down to like when it comes to DRDPs and like observations. For example, like in one of the class, we have a new teacher, but they haven't done a DRDP training. So really not knowing what to look for, like in an observation activity, apply it to now what the measurement is. So we're like, is it like lack of skill or lack of knowledge? Why it's not being either done or done correctly. And then at the same time, another friend brought up like when it comes to observations in Spanish, and this is actually a question because I never really like thought about it until it was brought up. We have a lot of educators that are Spanish speaking, so a lot of the notes or observations are written in Spanish and not translated in English. So is that something that's supposed to be in English? I guess it went into a question because if like someone did come in and started auditing or someone from the state and they're not Spanish speaking, how would that go about? So that was basically our conversation.
Great, good conversation. So activities around observation to support your staff, which led to a question about staff are writing these notes in Spanish. Is that an issue? Is that not an issue? So I would say talk to your consultant about that first, because there are some consultants who are fine with it. There are some consultants who might ask you to have them translate it so that when they do come to monitor, that they're able to read through them. I think the bigger issue is, as a director, as the administrator, are you able to read them? Are you able to help staff and tell them if their observations are on par or going towards right or correct? And I don't want to say correct, but are helpful towards the assessment. Because that's what we're here to do, right? As administrators, support them in their in this observation process. And how can I do that if I also need help with it? So what are the systems you have in place so that they are observing in the way that is most comfortable and helpful to them, and that you as the administrator can also review them and give them feedback? I see everybody circling and highlighting on the screen, from the treasure hunt activity to the observation to the deeper look. I didn't even get to the second page where we talk about summary of findings and the parent progress form. Those are all. I also want to add that for the parent progress form, the summary of findings and observation, we provide a free webinar. It's a 1-hour webinar that is very specific to those 3 things. How do I write this summary of findings? So your teacher should join that. We have a 1-hour webinar about how do I do a parent conference. We have a 1-hour webinar on all of these other pieces that go in depth about the DRDP assessment. So back to the desired results page. And over here underneath professional development, scheduled events, webinars. Professional development, scheduled events, webinars. Under webinars, you will find DRDP webinars. There's Ask the Expert, DRDP Parent Conference, Family Childcare Provider, Engaging Families. This is the one that we talk about, the parent surveys. There's an Environment Rating Scale 1-hour webinar, Observation and Collection. They're free. Anyone can join those at any time. I will also say, because we just want to help, we just want to make sure everyone has what they need in this process. There's so many moving parts. If you, as an administrator, you have a group of teachers all together on the same day at the same time, and you need us to do a 1 hour webinar for you, I can do that for free. Don't go tell everybody, because I know all your names, all 48 of you. I'm going to come and say, Brianna, why you tell on me? Sandra, why you told on me? We will do a 1 hour free webinar on any of these topics for you and your program if you like set it up, right? Tomorrow I got all 20 of my teachers in one room today. How do we do this? All of my contact info is on the logistics document. You can email me directly at tosborne@wested. Have all your information together tomorrow. I need this on this day. This is how many people are going to be there. Maybe the dates we have on the calendar don't fit with your work schedule. Maybe you have a very timed or a very specific time that you do your in-service. Let me know. I'll come do a free 1 hour. I said free 1 hour. I didn't say a free full day. Free 1 hour. All right, I am going to share some information about what's going on right now with DRDP. There's a lot of things happening with DRDP right now because of the time and the frame and where we are. So right now, DRDP 2025 is in a field study. We're here, fall 25. Also, at the same time, DRDP is in early adoption of 2025. Also, at the same time, programs get to choose if they want to jump from 2015 to 2025 right now. If as an agency, you want to say, yep, we're all in, we want to early adopt 2025 before it's required. That means for this school year, 25-26 school year, you have said all of my staff are using the 2025 on everyone. Or as an administrator, as an agency, you've all decided, well, maybe 3 of my sites are going to still use 2015, and I have 1 site that's going to early adopt. Let's test it out and get some feedback from that teacher. So many, and then there's the field study that has totally different rules and requirements because we need that data to help with what's happening in the spring of next year, which is calibration. So the calibration meaning how are the ratings equating back to what our subject matter experts think they're going to be. The calibration is going to be done in the spring. In the spring, there will be other resources available. July 1st, inside the chat box, please type July 1st, 2026. July 1st, 2026. July 1st, 2026, DRDP 2025 is required for all state-funded programs. That includes special ed, that includes CDSS, that includes CDE, anyone who is currently required to use the DRDP as a part of their contract. Starting 2025, the only one available, starting July 1st of 2026, the only one available will be DRDP 2025. So pretty much right now you got a couple of options. Unless you're special ed, you don't have an option. You have to do the 2015. And then July 1st, 2025 is all that's available. There are new and updated resources coming. One of the questions in the chat was, will there be updates inside of SECO? Yes, by the end of this year, early February, March, there will be new DRDP trainings inside SECO. Also, at this time right now, there are multiple free DRDP 2025 trainings happening everywhere. In person, virtual, 3-hour, full day. We are trying our best to support the field in the new information about DRDP 2025. So 1, I'm giving you training information to use with your staff on your own timeline whenever you need that. 2, I also have here underneath professional development, DRDP 2025 trainings, a list of training opportunities. What's really important to point out is that the California Department of Social Services is providing free in-person and virtual trainings. If you open up training opportunities, there's a 1 hour for administrators. There's a 3 hour early adoption for teachers or anyone. And then there's also a full day. All you have to do is select this registration page and you can go. I believe we have a free one happening this Saturday, maybe 2 in person, free DRDP trainings. Oh, there they go. And if you want the dates, you just select right there. They're free. So now that we've gotten some of the resources out the way, let's talk a little bit about your DRDP assessment. So your DRDP, the whole purpose really is to provide a framework for showing children's progress over time. Inside the chat, please type DRDP equals development. Your DRDP is going to show you how children are developing using a learning progression. DRDP equals development. My foundations equal age. That's where I go to find out what's age appropriate. But if I want to know where children are in their development so I can help their learning and development, I use my DRDP. Where is this friend right now? What comes next? Your DRDP assessment is made up of domains and measures, the definitions. We like to call these the 4Ds. And we like to say these help you understand the intent of the measure, the intent of the assessment. Make sure to read those definitions. Make sure you know what the levels are. Make sure you read the descriptors. Those terms are the same across your infant toddler DRDP, your PTK DRDP, and your school age. If you're a before and after school state funded program, you get to choose between your school age complete version, which has 6 domains and 31 measures, or your, I believe it's called simplified version, which has 2 domains and 13 measures. The choice is completely up to the agency. Some of the activities that I had you take a look at included getting to know the assessment. Print out the measures at a glance so that your staff know what they're assessing. I've seen programs who have copied this page for whichever age group you have, pass this out to all of their staff members, and then ask them when and where can you see these skills happen. Also posted these in the classroom, maybe cut out specific areas. I cut out this area around foundational language and we paste those measures or a list of those measures over where we have lunch, over in the dramatic play area, so that my teachers know you can observe for these skills in these places. Make sure your environment is set up, or help your teachers to set up their environment so that observation is embedded and not something that they think is extra. There's also an activity you may have seen inside of those pages that talk about comparing and contrasting the measures. So these are just screenshots. I will say that from your DRDP infant toddler to your DRDP PTK, the measures are the same, right? They're exactly the same. They have the same name, the same definition, the same descriptors, the same developmental levels. What changes is that there are more measures in PTK and that they have more levels they can choose in PTK. But ATL1 is ATL1. Have them compare. Have them point out that there are extra levels. Have them help your teachers dive into the assessment to see why are there 2 different views? What's the difference from this one to this one? Help them understand, where can I rate? Where can't I rate? What's age appropriate? There's also an activity inside of those pages around the navigation map so that you can help teachers know what the correct terminology is. If you've joined any DRDP training, you've seen this before. It's also inside the CECO modules all the way back from DRDP 2015. This is to help teachers understand the assessment. When you say examples, what does that mean, Tamara? When you say emerging, how do I use that? When can I use unable to rate? Why wouldn't I use unable to rate? If we don't support our staff in understanding it, they lean on their own understanding, and then things are all kind of weird and strange. One of the big differences in our 2025 that you want to point out to your new staff is that one measure in your PTK, one measure in PTK has 2 pages. One measure in PTK has 2 pages. One measure is 2 pages long. And now that I say that, that means I want to show you something else. If you can see my screen, go ahead and give me a thumbs up or a Y in the chat, either one. Thank you. I see that thumbs up. Thank you very much, Becky. So here I'm going to select DRDP 2025 and instruments and forms. Since the layout of the assessment has changed a little bit, we gave directions on how to print the instrument so that it comes out as one measure with 2 pages. So when you go to the Desired Results website, go to DRDP 2025, Instrument and Forms. And if you scroll down, it'll say how to print your DRDP 2025. Anyone who is using the assessment, we highly, highly recommend they should have one copy that is theirs. They don't need one per kid. They need one for them as the teacher. So they know what they're assessing. They know what the expectations are. They know what the instructions say. Every teacher should have their own copy. There's also an activity inside of those pages around examples, reading through those examples, clarifying that examples are not a checklist. And there's a treasure hunt activity where you have them dive into the assessment, use the FAQs or frequently asked questions so that they know that they also have agency in figuring out how to use the assessment. Being a preschool teacher, total physical response is one of my favorite ways to get things through the brain. Exactly, Lizette. We've been sitting too long. Time to stand and stretch. I like to do the 4D dance around the middle of our trainings as we get towards the end. If you've never seen the 4D dance, this is going to be great. I promise. This is a time for us to give you a tool that you can take back to your teachers. They're going to love it too. When we talk about the DRDP and understanding the different pieces so that you know the intent, we say that there are 4 Ds to be very, very aware of. One is your domains. So I'm going to ask you to take your hands, put them on your head, and say domains, because domains are always, and feel free to stretch, domains are always at the top of the measure. Then you have to always read definitions. Always, always, always. So take your hands and put them on your shoulders, and we say definitions. Definitions hold up the measure. Those are, it gives you more information that's going to give you the intent of the measure. And then you have your developmental levels. So make yourself a lowercase t, right? Turn yourself into a lowercase t, and then just glide left to right, because your developmental levels are on a continuum of left to right, earlier skills to later skills. And then I'm going to ask you to make a heart with your hands, because your descriptors are the heart of the measure. Your descriptors are what teachers need to see in order to rate that measure at the highest level master. Let's put all 4 of those together. Here we go. Domains, definitions, developmental levels, and descriptors. Again, domains, definitions, developmental levels, descriptors. Faster. Domains, definitions, developmental levels, descriptors. Faster. Domains, definitions, developmental levels, descriptors. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. Thank you for playing with me. I appreciate it. We needed that movement. So right now, I am going to place you into your breakout rooms, and this is the question you're going to discuss. One of the most important things around DRDP is making sure you have an observation system. Your teachers know, where do our observations go? How do we organize them? What counts as observations? I'm going to place you into your breakout rooms, and you're going to discuss what's on the screen for the next 8 minutes. You have 8 minutes to have a discussion. If I see the microphone start to die down before that, I'll bring you all back before 8 minutes. On your mark, Get set, go. Looks like everybody's on their way back inside. I think you can all still see my screen. I'm going to ask you to annotate onto the screen. If you select that little green pencil again, but this time select the T for text box, you can write on the screen. What observation systems do you have set up in your class? Now, or in your classes. What I've learned doing this activity is that everybody starts in the top left, because that's how we write. That's normal. Feel free to use the whole screen so that you don't write on top of others. So use the text box and you can write onto the screen what your systems are. If it's hard for you to find that, go ahead and just type it in the chat and I'll put it onto the screen for you. How do they organize their observations? Where do they go? Who's a part of it? I see iPads and Learning Genie, thank you. When you're collecting what children say, when you're collecting their artwork, who helps to do that? When you get information from families, teachers are carrying notebooks. We use an online system, something like the DRDP online portfolio. So all of our observations are written notes. The more different types of observations you include, the easier the rating process becomes. So if you're using notes and pictures, notes, pictures, and videos, notes, pictures, videos, and information from families, right? Because we're looking for mastery consistently over time and in different settings. How are we supporting our teachers in embedding that practice into whatever their current lesson is? So if our first thing we do in the morning is greeting and washing hands, and then morning meeting, and then small group, what happens in each of those around observation? Family learning stories, I see that there. Thank you, Kristen. She's using Learning. I think Learning Genie showed up here a couple of times. Maybe no. Maybe I just thought I did because I read it. But oh yeah, there it is. Learning Genie. Family learning stories, notes, pictures, artwork. We use iPads. I think that says Child Folio, possibly. Child Folio is probably their portfolio system. So I see Learning Genie coming up, and then I heard another vendor come up. I am going to discuss this in the training we do in the afternoon about DRDP online, but I want to make sure that I share this with all of you as administrators also. Right now, I'm going to pull up the Desired Results website again, DRD or the desiredresults.us website. On this website, you'll probably find just about everything. So those resources we talked about this morning, right? Like the infant early childhood mental health consultant network. These are all live links here at the bottom, and they take you directly to that resource. So this will take you to infant early childhood mental health. There's also a link down there that takes you to CPEN or that All About Young Children website I talked to you about earlier. But what I came here for was to show you that underneath DRDP Online, there's something called a licensed vendor. And as the administrator, you're probably in charge of different programs like Learning Genie or Child Folio coming to your agency. Underneath licensed vendors, there's a list of everyone who is approved to have DRDP in their system. This is a list of all the vendors who are approved to have DRDP in their system. So if you look here, it'll say all of these agencies, all of these companies have followed the correct guidelines to make sure DRDP is in their system correctly. The reports that are required by the state are the right ones, that their portfolio system is correct as well. So if you are using someone who is not on this list, they can apply to be a licensed vendor.
I'm just curious to know what each level means, level A, level B, level C.
So you can, it's explained right here underneath there, but quickly, it's that level A is that they have the DRDP in their system, level B is DRDP and portfolio, level C is reports.
So for child folio is not on there as a licensed vendor. Is that something we can be using then, or should we not be using that for our observations and everything?
I don't know what child folio looks like. I cannot vouch and say that they have the DRDP correctly in their system.
Portfolio is part of MCT technology because we are using the Care Connect part of it and we are thinking about adding Portfolio. It's part of that MCT technology.
I cannot say if they have DRDP in the system and if it is correct because they are not a approved vendor.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, Fabiola, wondering if the Infant Early Childhood Mental Health Consultant Network also provides consultation or support to LEAs. I am not sure because some LEAs have a CDSS or CDE contract. So I think it depends is the answer, but I would definitely call them to find out. So a couple of other things about DRDP before we come out of this section. And remember, you have these slides in order to help and train and support your staff. One is that there is a resource called DR Access. DR Access is used, or the DR Access project is through the California Department of Education and the Special Education Division. They have specific requirements of when the assessment is completed. So if you are a special education program or you have children in your program who have an IEP and a special education educator, this is a resource you want to be familiar with because their due dates are different. And where the ratings go is different. The assessment is the same. I still observe, I still rate the highest level mastered, but the requirements are a little different. And for this year 25-26, the DRDP 2015 is required for those children with an IEP. And if they have a special education educator, that person is who's completing that required DRDP 2015.
So is DR Access only for special education programs?
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
They have a ton of other resources. I highly recommend taking a look at the website because children with IEPs come to all programs.
Yes, so would we do that for our children that have speech and language?
So if a child comes to you and they have speech and language, they more than likely have a special education provider, right? They have an educator assigned to them who goes over their IEP, who talks to the family. And the expectation is that if they are in a general ed program and they're receiving that special education services, that there's collaboration between the two about the DRDP assessment.
Okay, and what about SDC push-ins? Is their teacher the one that's responsible for that? Or
A special ed educator? Are they the, yes.
so we're CSPP
Okay.
and SDC pushes in.
And the SD, so they have someone assigned to them. I'm guessing the SDC person is their special ed teacher.
Yes, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just to clarify on that one as well, like we have the same. So if we do have the CSPP and SDC pushes in, then the SDC teacher is the one responsible for completing the DR the Fair Results Access project, correct?
So they are the ones required to complete a DRDP. DR Access is the project that helps them with requirements. If the child is enrolled in your program, you are responsible to complete the assessment.
But if the child is enrolled in the SDC class and they're
The
just,
special ed teacher is required.
okay, thank you.
So that goes for dual enrollment, it's still the SDC teacher, correct?
Dual
No.
enrollment means there's two assessments.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Because you said push in meaning he's not enrolled with me. They come hang out and they go away.
So, but they are enrolled though, so they push in for like an hour or so a day, and then they push in longer and longer as they develop.
So some kids are dual enrolled, meaning they have a general ed program and they have a special ed program. Some are in an inclusion classroom. Some are not enrolled in the general ed, they're only in the special ed. If they're only enrolled in special ed, but they come and hang out in general ed for an hour a day, the special ed is where they're enrolled. That's who does the assessment. If they're enrolled in both programs need an assessment and they should be collaborating.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question about the age and the 60 day. If a child turns 37 months within the 60 days, so they start the program and they're 35 months, but at the end of the 60 days, they're turning into 37 months. Do we do the infant toddler or do we do the preschool age?
So the DRDP is created so that
Is it enrollment date or is it by the 60-day date? You know what I'm saying? Because by the 6-month date, they'll be in the next one.
So the DRDP is created to have this continuum of measures. Your infant and toddler version is used for children in an infant toddler program, 0 to 36 months. Then you have your preschool that says 36 to 5.5 or kindergarten entry. There's also a written rule on the FAQs and inside of the assessment and inside the management bulletin that says if you have a child who is 2.9 in a preschool, you can use the preschool view.
Okay.
So I say pre-plan, right? You know when that kid is going to turn whatever age, and the assessment that you should be choosing should be based on the date that the ratings are due.
Okay. Thank you.
So whenever the ratings are due, that means he starts with me at 2.7, but I know his ratings are going to be due at 2.9. I'm going to start with PTK in my observations because when the ratings are due, he won't be 2.7.
Right. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. So the other thing I'm going to ask everyone is use that annotate again, and I need you to circle this word right here that says within. So an age-appropriate version of the DRDP must be completed within 60 calendar days. It does not say on day 60. It does not say after day 60. It says within 60 calendar days. That includes the observations and the ratings. Calendar days are days that are on the calendar. Saturday and Sunday are included.
I have a question.
Oh, there it is. Yes.
What if we have a child that had to go out of the country as an emergency and they're taking like a month off? Can we give an extension for those 60 days since the teachers have not been able to observe the child?
No. So on the assessment, there is I'm going to go back a slide or two. There is an option of unable to rate due to extended absences. That is per measure. That is not the entire assessment, right? So based on the child's attendance, I might not have been able to rate a measure because he hasn't been here. That's an option there. And I would also touch base with your consultant so they know what's going on.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I also have a question. It is crystal clear that when a child is starting in a program, we have to have the first DRDP within the first 60 days and then 6 months after that. So I'm running a program that's like from 3 months old to 5 years old, and usually my children are starting in the infancy. And during our audit, our analyst was pushing to tell me that every year I have to have my fall DRDP starting on July 1st and don't follow that 6-month sequence for each child. And I just want to know, is that true, or should I just stick with the 6 month that I'm doing right now?
So the rules that are written in Title V, right, your Title V requirements are what I have on the screen. If your consultant is telling you something different, I would ask to speak with someone else.
Their supervisor, basically.
Because that's
Okay.
I don't understand what that means. Don't do your 6 months. I don't know what that means. Because this is the rules that are written in Title V.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to the second part of our desired results system. You have lots of training materials inside of those documents and PowerPoints I've given you. And if at any time you go through them and you need some more help, please just reach out to us. We're glad to help. So the second part of the desired results system is your parent survey. I already showed you all about young children, which is a wonderful resource to make sure your teachers know about and use. So the parent survey is going to give your program access to information about parents on how to improve your quality of your program. The requirement is that it's conducted at least once a year. There are many programs who do it twice a year. That's completely up to you. The desired results parent survey has a goal of making sure, there we go, that the families have a say in how and where their children are learning and growing. Right now, parent survey that is just released in 2025 has been updated. Oh, and that reminds me, in the chat, someone asked their Learning Genie about the parent survey, and her Learning Genie rep told her that yes, it is updated. Whoever put that in the chat, thank you, thank you, thank you. I saw that, and thank you. So right now the survey has changed. There are now 21 questions, 2 additional questions specifically for children who have an IEP, and there are 2 open-ended questions for families to give their own expressions. I want to show you where to find these on the website. Right now you should see the desired results website. That sounds right? Yes? Yes, thank you. So here underneath desired results system, parent survey, desired results parent survey, and you can see the different languages it is currently available in. And then there are 5 more questions or 5 more languages coming soon. So while the survey is available to you in paper format, such as this, many programs have put these questions, this survey, into an electronic format, something like SurveyMonkey or Google Forms, and your parents can complete it that way. What's important to note about the parent survey is that all of these questions are required. You cannot omit any of those questions. But maybe as an agency, you have additional information you'd like to collect from your families, you can add to the survey. You can add questions. You cannot remove questions. Sylvia, sorry, I just saw your question. If the child changes providers, do we do another 60-day for the child? So Sylvia, when you say providers, I am understanding that to mean a family childcare, but they're within the same agency. Is that correct? So if they're in the same agency, you do not get another 60-day. If they leave the agency, they get a 60-day, right? You get a 60-day every time you start over. They're not starting over in the agency. They have a new provider in the same agency, meaning there is record of that child here in this agency. They never left the program. They're still here. They just went to another site in the same program.
Sorry, kind of piggybacking off her question. If a child turns 3 during their 6-month period for the infant and toddler DRDP, do they restart their 6-month with a preschool aged one?
Not
Or do
in the
they?
same program, only if they terminate. They have to get a termination date in order to get a new 60-day.
But if they turn 3, so now they have to complete the preschool one, do they finish out their infant and toddler one first, or do they stop halfway and then get a new 6-month date? I don't know if that makes sense.
Not quite sure I understand, but let me try. So a child turns 3 in the middle of the 6-month rating period. My first thing is plan ahead. You know they're going to turn 3 in the middle of the rating period. Let's start with the PTK at the end of that first 60-day, because you know they're going to turn 3, right? So plan ahead when kids are going to turn 3. Second, since and if I'm switching to PTK, do I need to give a new 60-day? No, because they're in the same program.
That did help. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, Iqbal, you got something to say?
Yeah, I would like just to add that if she starts with the PTK view from the beginning and she knows that the child is going to finish 3 within the year, the PTK view includes the infant toddler. It's a page, it's a full continuum, so she can start whenever is the child and continue on the same view for the PTK view.
Thank you. Amanda, you have a question?
Yeah, so that kind of brought up an idea for me is so we're an infant toddler program, but sometimes we have kids that turn 3 in like February, March, April, and we keep them because there's nowhere for them to go.
Yeah.
Should we be using the PTK instead of the infant toddler at that point?
If they're going to stay in your same program, I would double check with your consultant, because I don't want you to get any extra issues.
Okay.
But I would say I would start observing for my PTK, because all the measures that are in my IT are in my PTK, right? They're not different measures. I have more in PTK. There are more things I'm looking for when children turn 3.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So there's some additional resources available to help your teachers understand, or to include families as a part of the process, from your family partnership and culture document to responsive early childhood or supporting families who are experiencing homelessness. Again, free SECO modules for those. We talk about strategies for building relationships, where we encourage teachers to learn first from families and then go into teacher mode. So many great strategies within both of those documents. Part 3 is our environment rating scales. And for CDSS funded programs, the ERS is required. And the ERS is to be completed for every classroom inside of your agency, classroom, fetch and home, and then at the site or fetch and home level, and then of course at the agency level. For parent survey and ERS, we have 2 other webinars you all have signed up for. We didn't want to give you everything at once, right? Let's piecemeal this out, because your program self-evaluation happens next year. Let me help you on this long road to getting to that program self-evaluation. So we will go deeper into both of these in our other webinars. We're going to provide you with training workbooks and activities to support your staff, especially around inter-rater reliability for your environment rating scales. So right now we are coming up on part 4, which is around program self-evaluation. The steps are the same. You can plug in any assessment here at the classroom level, right? My DRDP, my ERS, parent survey. I need to get some data on that assessment. I need to complete a summary of findings or an action plan. A summary of findings is just an action plan. What are we going to do because of this data? Then I need to compile it at the agency level. So your program self-evaluation, the process looks something like this. Review all of your materials, implement that system, all 4 pieces, review and complete the program self-evaluation, and it is always due by June 1st of the year. So June 1st of 2026, you'll have to turn that in. Right now, we're down to the end of our webinar, and I want to make sure everyone shares what it is that you learned today. We talked about a lot of things. So what is it you're walking away with? I'm going to place you back into your breakout rooms where you will use that Google slide to type in on the last box. Bonnie, I see your message in the chat that talks about ERS is now through class, I thought, no longer ECHRS. That is for CDE funded programs. CDSS programs are using the ECHRS or the ERS, environment rating scales, depending on the age group that you currently have.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So I gave you the link. We're going to breakout rooms for the next 5 minutes and go. Welcome back, everybody. I know it is 11. I am going to say thank you so much for your time and ask us for 3 more minutes. We are just about done here. So I see a lot of things around understanding more about the rules, when to use what assessment, and all the training material that you have been provided with. As we say goodbye, I just want to go over our next steps. So there is another webinar after this one at 12 o'clock. That will be about DRDP online. That's why I did not go into depth on that one this morning. Your next big webinar with me is on December 4th, and that's where we'll talk about the environment rating scales. That's the next one, the next big one with me. So that's not until December 4th. Today, there's one in the afternoon. Tomorrow, there's experienced and new coming to many different topics. So there's a PTKLF tomorrow. There's an infant, and they also talk about the infant toddler one tomorrow. By this date, December 4th, there are 2 homeworks that I'm asking everyone to do. One of them is to complete the PTKLF introduction module inside of SECO. And then there's the DRDP online tutorial. This will be emailed to you today so that you have it in your email. And remember, it's not even due until December 4th. That's my next steps with you. I want to say thank you all so much for coming to hang out with me today. Hopefully you're walking away with some great info, something that you didn't know before. I like to end all of my webinars the same way by asking everyone to unmute and turn on your cameras. And at the count of 3, we will all say, have a great day. 1, 2, 3.
Have a great
Have a
day.
great
Have a great
day.
day.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.